And there's the opening bell. We are live from the floor of the Football Players Exchange, where stock prices are jumping and valuations are moving faster than a last-minute counterattack. Let's get right into today's biggest market rumors. Hey everyone, I'm your analyst Mark, and the board is officially green. We've got a ton of movement to cover today as the big firms evaluate their portfolios and make their moves. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on the major market movers today. Manchester's Giants, Arsenal, and Borussia Dortmund. If you want these updates straight from the trading floor every single day, you gotta hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get to the big board. First up, let's take a look at the very top of the market. We're talking about the blue chip stocks. These are the premium, established assets that every single major firm wants in their portfolio. And this is the number that is just lighting up the board today. £120 million. Yeah, you heard that right. That is the absolutely staggering asking price that Nottingham Forest has set for their most prized asset, the 23-year-old midfielder, Elliot Anderson. So who's behind that massive valuation? Well, the market makers here are the two Manchester Giants. Both United and City have listed Anderson as a top priority target. And when you've got two massive bidders like that in the game, you can see why Nottingham Forest is feeling pretty confident holding firm on that 9-figure price tag. Now let's talk about another high-value asset, but this one has a different kind of financial instrument at play, the purchase option. You can think of it like a futures contract, really. Everton currently holds the option to buy Jack Grealish at a price that was already agreed upon. But here's the twist. Everton is signaling to the market that they will not be exercising that option, at least not at the £50 million strike price. They seem to believe the 30-year-old winger's current market value is a bit lower, but they're still confident they can restructure the deal with Manchester City to keep him. It's a classic renegotiation tactic. Okay, let's shift gears now. We're moving away from those established blue chips and into our next sector, growth and speculative stocks. These are the younger assets, right? The high potential investments that could either totally skyrocket or, well, bust. And what Arsenal is doing here is a classic portfolio diversification play. They're looking to strengthen their defensive holdings by targeting two really different types of assets. First, you've got 19-year-old Victor Valdepenas, who's a true high-growth prospect. And then there's 21-year-old Jacobo Ramon, who you might call more of a mid-cap investment. A little less speculative, but a really solid, reliable asset for the future. Now for the one that everyone is talking about. The hottest initial public offering, or IPO, on the market right now is this 16-year-old German midfielder, Kenneth Eichhorn. I'm telling you, the buzz around this kid is just off the charts. And when I say buzz, I mean a full-blown bidding war is kicking off. Hertha Berlin is apparently fielding calls from everywhere. Manchester City is right in the mix, along with a bunch of other major firms from both the Bundesliga and the Premier League. This is speculative investing at its most intense. All right, let's get to our third and final sector for the day, the active market movers. These are the assets in play right now, the ones whose stocks are fluctuating by the hour, creating some really interesting opportunities for savvy traders out there. And probably the biggest question on the floor today is this: is it time to buy the dip on Jadon Sancho? This is a classic value investing play, right? You've got an asset whose stock has fallen, but the underlying quality might still be there. So here's the core dynamic. The current holder, Manchester United, they have a clear sell rating on him. They're looking to offload the 26-year-old because, well, his on-pitch returns just haven't matched that huge initial investment. But, and this is the interesting part, a former major investor, Borussia Dortmund, where his stock was at an all-time high, is now signaling buy, and they're seriously thinking about a move to reacquire this heavily depreciated asset. Elsewhere, Tottenham is making a pretty aggressive acquisition play. Reports say they are pushing hard to sign the 23-year-old goalkeeper James Trafford from Manchester City. They've clearly identified him as a key strategic asset they need to lock down. Sometimes the asset itself can influence the market. So while Arsenal might be open to offers for the 24-year-old Gabriel Martinelli, the player himself is creating his own resistance. His public stance of pushing to stay is a powerful move. It's almost like a form of shareholder activism, where the asset tries to influence its own market destiny. It definitely complicates any potential deal. And then you have the complete flip side of that coin with Leeds United, who are actively looking to liquidate. In stark contrast to Martinelli, they're putting 22-year-old forward Mateo Joseph right on the auction block, sending a very clear sell signal to the entire market. And just a few quick signals flashing across the ticker before the closing bell, Chelsea is issuing a strong hold rating on 19-year-old defender Josh Champong. They're just not selling. And meanwhile, River Plate is exploring a more creative loan structure for Alejandro Garnacho, with their head coach even making a personal pitch. And that's the bell. The market is now closed for today. Wow, what a whirlwind of activity, from those huge blue-chip valuations to the speculative IPOs and all the assets that are just in constant flux. So now I'm going to turn it over to you, the traders at home. Looking at today's board, with all the different opportunities we just talked about, which of these deals would you execute if you were calling the shots? Go on, head down to the trading floor or, the comments section and place your trades. Let us know which one of these transfers you really want to see go through. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the opening bell.